As of taping this, we're ahead of schedule about 6 weeks ahead of average, which means our growing season is going to be 6 weeks long. Assuming typical weather, our growing season is going to be 6 weeks longer than normal, which means 6 weeks extra of mowing, 6 weeks extra of irrigation, 6 weeks extra of weed control, fertilization, irrigation, and so on and so forth. And so just to maintain turf conditions like we've had in the past, it's going to take 6 weeks of extra work. In terms of weed control, the extra 6 weeks means that crabgrass is growing for the extra 6 weeks. Yellow nutsedge is already germinating. This is in early April. We normally don't see yellow nutsedge germinating until May, and so the winter annuals have come in over the winter and they're thriving. And assuming that we have typical springtime temperatures, these weeds are going to thrive, and so it's going to take multiple applications or a lot more effort to keep these weeds at bay. Mowing as tall as you can, fertilizing in the fall, and so on and so forth are always good ways to control the weeds, but sometimes you'll have to use herbicides as an intervention. Rock talked about pre-emergent herbicides in the past, and now that we have a 6 week longer growing season, we're going to have to make at least 2 applications of pre-emergent herbicides to keep our crabgrass at bay. Broadleaf weeds, currently dandelions are flowering. That usually signals the second best time of the year to apply to control broadleaf weeds like dandelions and clover. Not as good as fall applications, but certainly better than waiting later in the summer. And so the other thing that can happen is with broadleaf weeds, assuming that we keep moderate temperatures and summer doesn't start to heat up until the typical time of late May and June, we might get extended germination, extended development of our weeds, and single applications of broadleaf herbicides may not be sufficient either. We may need to make multiple applications. Other pests like the patch diseases that you'll see in Kentucky bluegrass lawns, those diseases become active once soil temperatures reach about 55 degrees. Normally that's in the first week of May. This year it's in the last week of March, and so those diseases are going to be active for another 6 weeks. It may take multiple applications. This weekend we had fairly dry conditions, and so I'm starting to see drought, first symptoms of drought in home lawns, and overall I think we over-irrigate our home lawns, and so anything we can do to back off that irrigation of home lawns is great. But if you start seeing signs of drought, turning blue, the grass turning blue in the middle of the day, that's when you want to start irrigating the following morning. That will be necessary. Again, we have an extra 6 weeks of irrigation. The turf is growing exceptionally fast right now. Normally this occurs about 3 or 4 weeks later, and so we're going to have to get those mowers fired up, and if our weather stays moderate, this growth could continue well into June, because these cool season grasses continue to grow aggressively until the temperatures heat up in the 80s and 90s. And so we have a long period here for extra turf growth, extra weeds, lots of potential problems in our lawn. And it's going to cost a lot more money for us to maintain our lawns, or a lot more effort for us to maintain our lawns. So the weather is beautiful to get outside, and it's a great time to get out and do your work in your lawn. But knowing Nebraska weather, we might have 16 inches of snow next week, and then everything will be off. And so stay tuned, and we'll give you updates throughout the summer to see how this year progresses.